dangerous fire weather is gripping southern parts of the country at the moment. We've had out-of-control bushfires burning through parts of Tasmania, and searing heat is now gripping South Australia today. In terms of what we did see across the north of the country, Broome, you've collected over 50 millimetres in the gauge. We are monitoring two separate monsoon lows, which will drive in flooding rainfall in the coming days. For the time being, it's all about the heat, the winds and the fire threat in the south. We've seen severe weather is back for the southwest, and there's our showers and thunderstorms in the north. Let's start off in Queensland. Well, we did see some good falls in the last 24 hours. Cowley Beach, over 30 millimetres in the gauge. Now, in terms of the heat, it has been hot in Queensland. Camberwell, you are forecast to see your 40th day today above 40 degrees. So searing heat continues through inland regions. We do have the risk of gusty thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening for the southern inland of the state, including parts of southeast Queensland. Day one of the test match at the Gabba in Brisbane is looking good. Warm though, 34 degrees. New South Wales, what a 24 hours it was for you. Severe thunderstorms tore through the inland regions of the state. We saw them develop on the ranges on Wednesday afternoon, and as a result, Glen Innes collected over 35 millimetres in the gauge. 15 millimetres fell in just 10 minutes, and we did have a wind gust of over 80 kilometres per hour as well with those severe storms. For today, much of the stormy skies have cleared out from the state. We still have the chance of a shower and thunderstorm in the east, more likely over the northern parts of the ranges. Hot to very hot in the east, and the west, I should say, where we're continuing to see a heat wave through those regions. Places like Burke and Cobar, Broken Hill, consecutively seeing days above 40 degrees. I will be keeping you posted here on the ongoing heat situation on Sky News Weather. Speaking of which, Phillip Island showing off on Wednesday. Now, we do have sunny skies statewide across Victoria today, and it is warming up. It'll be a very hot day through northern regions of the state where you're currently in a heat wave, and then of course an increase in fire danger, particularly on Friday with those winds increasing. Speaking of fire danger, all eyes are on Tasmania. We are still watching the fire threat very closely. The next 24 hours will be dangerous for you in Tasmania. Winds are increasing. For the rest of today, areas of smoke haze about the southern, western and central regions of the state. It's locally hot for inland regions with northeasterly winds developing. South Australia, you're in for an absolute scorcher. The state emergency services have issued an extreme heat warning for the state, with temperatures hitting the mid to high 40s. We will be seeing records tumble in South Australia today. Stay indoors if you can. It's looking like the severe weather has eased back for the southwest land division. Cape Naturalist, though, on Wednesday you saw a wind gust in excess of 100 kilometres per hour. We had some good rainfall to 9 a.m. Whichcliffe also collecting over 30 millimetres in the gauge. The theme for today for southern WA is it's all easing back. For the north, though, it's just beginning. Broome, you've collected well over 50 millimetres. Showers and thunderstorms continuing right across the north.
Extreme and potentially record-breaking heat is developing today in South Australia. We're talking widespread heat between 40 to 48 degrees, challenging records we only set just last week for some areas. Extreme fire dangers will accompany this with dangerous fire weather. After a westerly change hits late tonight for South Australia, this weather will shift into Victoria, Tasmania and parts of New South Wales with what looks like the worst fire day of the season for Tasmania, which is a particular concern given the amount of fires and the large fires that are already burning across central and southern parts of the state. We'll take a look at some forecasts now. The reason we have this is because of hot, dry, and at times gusty northerly winds today in South Australia. This red shading is 40-degree heat. This other darker shading is over 45-degree heat. And that's widespread today on this high-resolution weather model. As we look at the fire dangers, we can see we have severe to extreme fire dangers in quite populated areas, including the lower southeast and the Mount Lofty ranges. Very high fire dangers today in parts of South Australia. Now, we'll see a westerly change come through overnight and into Friday. That'll hit you during sometime Friday morning in Adelaide. It'll gradually cool, but it'll still remain pretty hot. In the mid-30s is still your forecast. But on Friday, the fire weather and the dangerous conditions shift to Tasmania, Victoria, and parts of southern and western New South Wales. This looks very hot. 40 to 45 degree heat in parts of Victoria and much of western and central New South Wales. And for Tasmania, 35 to 40 degree heat here with winds sustained around 40 kilometers an hour. That's gusts potentially 60, maybe 70 kilometers an hour for some areas. And to top it off, we have a dry and potentially thundery change coming through in the afternoon across both Victoria, including you in Melbourne, as well as you in Tasmania. That thundery change will cause a rapid drop in temperatures. but it's not good conditions for fires that are already active, because that could cause the fires to shift in a different direction and form a new fire front that's large and potentially unmanageable. The fire danger is pretty bad. Now, from this morning, we already have a total fire ban in effect from Tasmania, stretching from 2 a.m. today up until next Monday. That's how we're trying to deal with these fires in this area. And you can see we already have severe fire danger and very high fire danger forecast in Tasmania, with the potential for extreme fire danger as well. Victoria already has extreme fire danger over the north, potentially even damaging winds developing over parts of the ranges and even parts of Melbourne. It's just going to be a very windy and hot day altogether. There is some relief on the way. Now, after that cool change rolls through, and whatever it does to the fires, it will cause those temperatures to drop down for you in Tasmania. Northern Victoria is still hot, and New South Wales pretty hot as well, but at least that fire danger eases back. And finally, just a quick mention on what's happening over the north of the country. We're looking at dual cyclones developing. One of them, located in the western region, is currently tracking west of the Kimberley and will move continually out into the Indian Ocean. It could even turn into a severe tropical cyclone. And the other one, well, that's floating around the Gulf of Carpentaria. It should organize itself into Thursday and Friday. You can see that center of low pressure there organizing itself. And areas around the Gulf Coast have a very high risk of flooding rainfall and potentially bad effects of storm surge. The forecast rain over the tropics looks pretty heavy. We're going to see some heavy totals over areas like Broome. We already saw storms yesterday, but widespread rain between 100 to 300 millimeters across the Gulf Coast due to what looks like the season's fourth tropical cyclone.